Hello, hello. As far as I can see, we are online. I hope you can see me and hear me well. Please just as always, leave your pluses in live streaming channel if we are good to go. Okay, nice. We have first one. Okay, it seems that we can start. And today we have a lot of stuff to discuss. First of all, we will review your second task, file manager, and then we will take a look at your next assignments, specifically at simple crude API and basic testing assignment. First of all, let's review what you had to do. Your task was to implement a file manager that is application that works using command line interface of Node.js. It implements several areas of functionality like navigation, some file operations, operation system information retrieval, hash calculation, compress, decompress operation on files. It seems to be, from technical point of view, it seems to be pretty similar to what you've done previously. You just had to concatenate all the parts together. And that's basically it. Have you seen any difficulties during implementation of this solution? Please write to chat. Okay, nice. We have more classes here. But I believe it's enough. I will just wait a minute. Pass with spaces, yes. But you have this awesome Node.js pass API that allows you to correctly resolve those pass to files. Let's see what I can do about it. Does it sound better now? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, sorry about that. I just reduced some noises from background. Mention please these pass APIs because I implemented some own parser for that. I believe it works okay in solution we are going to review, but this is just about some stuff like pass resolve, pass join, something like this. Okay, so let's take a look at the code. I think we are not interested in checking functional criteria. You will do it during cross-check. You just implemented this task, so you know what it should do. Let's take a look at the code. First of all, we have this package.json file with star script that runs file index.js in the root folder of the project. Let's take a look what's going on here. I just left a couple of comments with this review prefix, just in order to not to forget about this. Okay, what we can see here. We can see that we have this init file manager app function, and we run it here immediately. First of all, this is original signature of the function. I just wanted to mention that student implemented it in asynchronous way because this is async function, but if you will carefully take a look at this code, you can see that there is no asynchronous code, so your init file manager app function shouldn't be asynchronous as well. So I just made it synchronous. We can see that we use readline API. This is a specific API that allows you to process stream data by lines. So it's very convenient for handling user input in process stdin, and you can see that here we implement a pipeline. We pipe process stdin to process stdout using input and output properties. Here is where magic happens. We provide a handler for line event on readline interface. What it does when you receive a prompt from your user input, you just call this callback. And here we handle user input and print current working directory. Looks pretty short and meaningful, but if we will take a look inside of handle user input function, we can see that readline here is used only for closing on exit message from user, and I believe we don't need a whole readline here because we only have one action, so we could just implement something like this. We could create function close readline, which just closes readline, and okay, we don't have to return anything, so let's do it that way. We could just provide it here. Yes, and instead of whole readline, we could just call this function. Because you should not provide more information, more API possibilities to the underlying code if it doesn't use it. But it's okay, just like it works here. Okay, what else do we have here? When readline is closed, so we are doing it, for example, on exit of application, or when we pass .exit message in our input, we just print thank you for using file manager username, goodbye, according to the task requirements. And also, if we have error, it handles every error that happens. We have this console log, unknown error has occurred, but I believe according to the task description, we should have our own errors. This will catch error if it will be not handled in the code below. Okay, so yeah, and also we don't need this await here. Because anyway, you may think that we have this await here, but it's only await from this asynchronous callback. It doesn't require a whole function to be async, just in case. Okay, let's take a look what happens inside handle user input. Here we have user input from readline line event. We parse it. First of all, we trim it in order to get rid of white spaces on the both sides. Then we split it by white spaces. And also we get a current directory using Node.js API. This is our current working directory. It will be your root folder by default, as far as I remember. Okay, then we switch, then we get operation type, because we split stuff we split stuff by white spaces. First part will be our operation. So if this is OS, we pass execution flow to handle user operation system. If this is some of the basic operations, we pass it here, navigation operations, zip operations, and so on. I just have only one concern. Here, student implemented good idea. We have these maps where we have list of comments, and then we pass code execution to dedicated handler. But it's mixed up, sorry, not mixed up, it just mixed with inline strings, and probably it would be nice to have some constants similar to basic operations, navigation operations, zip operations, and so on. We could just have constant like OS operation or OS operations here in constants as well, just in order to avoid magic numbers anti-pattern, but it's minor after all. What else do we have here? We have, in this switch case, we have a default handler, which will trigger if, oh, actually we can try it, okay. Let's try to pass here some non-existing comment, and we will be here. Please check your input, you used the wrong command let. And we have here a catch that will handle any unknown errors. By the way, for me it looks like according to our code, this error handler callback will not be triggered. But anyway, just as another safeguard, it's fine. Okay, so let's probably take a look at our underlying handlers. First of all, let's take a look at navigation operations because it's important. Okay, here we have similar switch stuff, where we get operation type and pass execution flow to dedicated function. Some of them are synchronous, some of them synchronous. It depends on what the function does. And same stuff with try catch. By the way, we can use some deduplication and simplification here. I will show you later, but oh, maybe I will show it to you just now. As far as you can see, we have duplicated logic in these functions, right? We have this try block, then catch block, which prints a certain error. We have it here, we have it here, we have it here. We have it in many places in our application. So what it means? It means that this is something that can be reused and can be extracted into some decorator, wrapper, or you name it. This is how it may looks like. We could pass functions that we want to execute and error message. And what we are doing here, we just awaiting functions. We can safely await synchronous functions. It's fine because when we apply await to synchronous function, it just wraps this function into promise resolve, which immediately resolve result. And if any error occurs, then we just print error text with this message. And what I wanted to show is that this can look like that. Let's probably comment student solution. Okay. And you can see that we call our catch errors decorator. We provide callback, which is function here. We await it, and then we print this error message. So we can try to throw error here. Let's probably try to throw this error not implemented and try to okay, catch errors, print error text is not defined. Okay, we need to import print error text. I forgot about it. Okay. And let's try again. Copilot lies to us. We don't have such module. But we have it in caller text utils. Yeah, and you can see that error occurred for navigation operation command let, even without calling it, because this error was thrown immediately. But anyway, it's handled properly. We don't have our message not implemented here. We just print message from here. So we could reuse this decorator and avoid duplication of logic. Okay, let's probably try to take a look at our handlers. First of all, let's take a look at navigate to folder. We get destination folder from arguments provided by user. Then we normalize it. What normalization does, it just, as documentation says, replaces trailing slashes. It just removes these relative path parts like dots and so on. And also it properly uses slashes, because on Windows we have backslashes in paths. For example, if you will take a look at PowerShell, it uses backslashes. And Unix-based systems, they have regular slashes. And normalize from path module helps you to resolve these differences. And we use changedir from process. By the way, this stuff is available globally, so we can just do process changedir or without importing it. But importing is okay. Yeah. Probably we forgot. Yes, we also have current working directory here. Process changedir, process current working directory, and process changedir. But it's really up to you how to use it. There is no big difference. Many stuff that is included into global stuff, it's is available from importing from corresponding module. Okay, so we have similar function, go folder up. It does pretty same thing, but the only difference is that we extract name of directory from provided path. And I believe we could just reuse navigate to folder here, because go folder up is just one case from navigation. But it's not always necessary, and here it have simplified implementation. We just get current working directory and extract parent directory name, and then we change our working directory to newly created path. So it's up to you. Okay, then we have this print folder content. It does pretty much stuff. We get, first of all, we get current directory, then we read directory with file types, which results in array of different instances. And then we try to sort it. We check whether A is file and B is not file. Then we check whether they both files or both not files. Then we compare it by name. And then we handle another case. So just to remind you, if you have forgotten about this, sorting in JavaScript works this way. We just return in sort function callback some number. If this is positive, then we need to switch elements. If it's negative, then we need to switch it opposite. If it's 0, we don't switch elements. And then we map it to the format that is required to console table. It requires name and type. Yes, here we have camel. Here we have this Pascal case, but it's necessary if we want to provide it to console table. Of course, objects names should start from lowercase letter. But it's complicated, and this comparison of names is not correct. What is the correct way to compare strings in JavaScript if we want to sort it? Please write to chat. Yes, locale compare. This function correctly this function is a part of string prototype API, and this compares strings correctly, taking into account alphabetic order. Okay, so I just simplified this implementation, so let's probably take a look at this. And I will comment original function. Okay, this is not different. We just get current working directory and read files, and then we can do sorting by names, and then we can check if A is file and B is file. We check by names, and if A is file, which obviously means that they are different, we get positive integer, otherwise we get negative integer. That's basically it. By the way, you should remember that order of sorting should be reversed. Yeah, we compare it by names closer to the top of the function, and then we compare it by file type at the bottom line. It's important because you may try to apply your sort in order you want it, but it will not work correctly. It will be reversed. After that, we need to map our sorted files entries to the format required by console table. We are doing a similar way, but there is one tricky thing, and actually student also checked for only file. Yes, but different instances can be not only files and directories. Yes, it can be symbolic links, and it can be socket. So you may have cases when something is not file, and it doesn't always mean that it's a directory. In most cases, yes, but still not always. Okay, let's try to take a look at direct class. Yes, you have a lot of things here, because it can be block device, character device, directory, FIFO pipe, file, socket, symbolic link, and so on. So just in case, if you for this task, it's okay, it's totally fine, but if you will work with real cases, you should take into account that other types exist. So then we provide our result to the console table, and we have used this catch errors decorator, which means that we provide error message to print here, and we got rid of this try catch block. Okay, I believe this is it about navigation. Let's take a look at operation system handler. What do we have here? We have here print user EOL. It just takes EOL constant from OS module. By the way, if you are using imports with starts with Node, we should be as much consistent as possible. During reading folder structure, probably we didn't remove throw new error message. Probably we kinda you use invalid arguments. Probably I just broke something, but anyway, my question was about error occurred during reading folder structure. Let's try to debug. Print error text. Okay, let's try to add debug login here. Probably we have some error here. CVD is not defined. Yeah, we removed this import here. Yes, it's a navigation operator handlers, and we need to use process here as well. Process.cvd. Let's try to, yes, so it works. Okay, so let's probably try to get OS EOL. Probably I'm doing it wrong way. It should be in uppercase. Okay, and let's try to see our end of line. Yeah, my default end of line is /n, which means new line. Okay, that's why we need JSON stringify here. I just was curious why do we need JSON stringify, but without it we will just see empty space. Okay, good idea. Then we can get information about user machine and CPU data. First of all, we get information about our CPU logic cores using CPUs API from OS module. And then we transform data that we have to the objects that contain CPU model and speed. By the way, as far as I remember, this doesn't work correctly on macOS. Let's check. We may see, yeah, we may see that speed is not that big, but of course it has 2 gigahertz, not 0.02. This is because probably it already returns data in gigahertz. OS CPUs. Probably that's also not correct. We don't need this to fixed. Let's try again. OS CPUs. Forget about it. Anyway, you should be aware about the differences in Unix system, namely macOS and Windows. And also we print CPU number. It's CPU cores number, logical cores. It not always corresponds with your physical cores. You may have more logical cores than physical cores. You should be aware of that. And then your CPU's data. it's okay in general. I have only one concern because from my point of view, we shouldn't extract CPU course number to a variable because it's not used in multiple places. So as far as we use it only once, we could probably provide it in line. And remove this unnecessary variable. Okay, user home directory just receives home directory from home dir API. Once again, we get user info from user info API, and we have here multiple lines of code, user info, then we extract username from using the structure in assignment, but this is not necessary from my point of view. We can just use it like this because it's not reused. User machine CPU architecture works similar way. And here we have this handler for user operations. It does similar stuff to what we have in handle user input, but on operation system operations level. Okay, we also have here default fallback, which is nice. Okay, good. What we will take a look at next. What's next? What's next? Let's probably try to take a look at zip operation handlers. We have here compress file and decompress file. Both functions do pretty same stuff. We get current working directory. We extract we extract paths provided by users. Then we get path to our source file and expected destination. Then we create gzip or gunzip, which is provided by Node.js API. And then we get source and destination streams and use pipeline, where we pipe our data from source to destination and provide gzip or unzip in between. Actually, gzip and unzip, I just remind you, if you forgot about it from previous review, it's transform stream instances. They just change data that is passed through them. Okay, it looks fine, but as far as you can see, these functions are pretty similar. The only difference is here. Here we have unzip, and here we have gzip. I think we could create some common function with just flag, I don't know, compress, decompress, is decompress, whatever, you name it. And then we could put all this logic here and only provide error message and this flag in compress and decompress file. I think you get the idea. And also here we also have this multiple duplicated try catch. We can use catch errors decorator here as well, but it looks just fine. Okay, let me take a look at the chat. Maybe you have some questions. Tolakale compare. Why not sort? Won't affect. Okay, we probably missed something inside of operation systems handler. We have not strict equality, I think. Navigation operations. But here equality is strict. Where do you see it? Okay, I don't know, but here equality is strict. Yeah, you should use strict equality over just regular one, because it just compares without type transformation. Okay. It's hard without stack trace. Yeah, that's why we added here. Same solution, max. Okay. So fast. Yn, not all. Oh, it's minor after all. But yeah, good note. M2, M1 is correct to destroy streams if error occurs. If this error will not destroy your streams automatically, then yes. If you have some working stuff, it's better to have some tear down where you close open connections, do some, I don't know, saves. You may save data, you may send, you may log something. Yes, so probably it would be better to destroy it. But in simple cases, when your node process is dead, then your streams will also be dead. So it depends on implementation. Okay, it seems that that's it about questions. Let's try to take a look at hash operation handlers. Okay, it has a lot of stuff in common with our navigation operations, with zip operation handlers. We get a file to pass, we get pass to file, we join our passes and so on. Then we create a readable stream from our file, and we create hash, which is a transform stream. And when we are done, we just can extract calculated hash from hash digest hex. In general, it looks fine. Probably we could not use a pipeline here. We could just do something like input.pipe hash.on finish and console log hash digest hex, because we have only two streams and we this one would be easier, but pipeline solution version is also fine. And also just a friendly reminder about catch errors decorator. I will not remind about it to you anymore, but still, just a side note. Okay, what else do we have here? Init app handler. Okay. Oh, by the way, we didn't take a look at this. Okay, we will take a look at this later. Let's try to take a look at basic operations with file. We have here already familiar to us operation handler, which switches operation type and executes corresponding function. Okay, deletion file. We construct path to delete and use rm function from promises API. We await it. Okay, good. For file creation, we validate file name here, and if file name exists, we just try to write file with flag wx, which means that if we do not have such file, we will create it. So, okay, looks pretty minimalistic. By the way, this validation could be extracted to the upper level, because this function does two things. It validates input and then it creates file. Probably we could validate input, and as well we could validate input for other functions, and we could do it on one layer. It's not a REST API, but still layers may be helpful in CLI application as well. Okay. Copy file, we validate input, then we construct necessary path, and then we create read stream and write stream, and we pipe read stream to write stream, which leads to copying of file. Of course, you have API for copying in Node.js, but according to the task requirements, you had to implement it using Streams API. This is just for your better understanding of streams. Okay, looks pretty fine. Read file by path. What do we have here? We have here file data, and to create it, we create readable stream. We have this chunk here. But it's not a chunk, it's like a whole file, because we concatenate this chunk with our real chunks that comes from data event. And then when we have close event, which means that our source is empty, that we read all the stuff, then we resolve it. Otherwise, if we have error, we reject it, and then we write to the processed out our concatenated data. I have some concerns here. First of all, we should be as much consistent as possible. I've seen that you use console log to write data to processed out. So just in order to be consistent, if you use console log everywhere, please use it here, because it's confusing. In some places you use processed out, right? In some places you use console log. Maybe you want to avoid additional new lines which provided by console log. That may be the case, but still it's better to be consistent. This is the first concern. Next one, why do you need to read whole file and store it in variable? It means that if you will try to read a big file, you will need amount of RAM equal to this file. So why can't you just pipe your readable stream to process it out, and on finish you can just close stream or something like this? So if we are using streams, we want to take advantage of it. So we should get and process data by chunks. We shouldn't store it. So this definitely could be improved. Okay, let's take a look at next function. It's rename file. We construct initial file path, we construct a new file path, and then we use rename from fs module to rename it. We don't validate input here, because if some of the arguments are invalid, then rename will throw error, and we will catch it here. Move file. Here we reuse copy file and delete file, because yes, if you want to move file, you need to copy it and delete it from initial place. So this is, I believe this is a good idea to reuse existing APIs. I am satisfied with it. Okay, that seems to be it. What else do we have? Hash operation handlers. We took a look at this. handle user input. Okay, only init app handler and utils are left. Okay, where do we use init app handler? Let's take a look. Okay, we use it in init file manager app, and it returns to us username. First of all, we try to get a username from command line arguments. And here we provide command line arguments. We do splice, which actually takes element from this position and it cuts it from our array. And then we check if a username argument exists. Then we split it by equality sign, because I wanted to remind you that we provide this our username using this format. So we split it into username and Maxim. And then we check if first argument includes username, then we get second argument, otherwise we return null. It will work correctly, but I think that readability here is not very well, because this this is how we usually do in front end. For example, in React, you may render some components using such conditions, but in backend code, it's not always looks readable. So I just need to perform some operations in my mind. I should remember what lies, what contained here, what is the first argument, what is the second argument, why do we check for username and first argument, and so on. So I think it could be simplified a little bit. I just written this solution. So first of all, your username argument is not always at the first place, right? You may have, as in many other command line interfaces, you may have different order of your arguments. It's totally fine here. I don't blame you. This solution works, but just in case if you will build something more complex, you should be more specific. So you just need to find your argument explicitly. Then if you don't have it, you return null. Otherwise, you know that you have it. You split it by equality sign, and then you will return second element. We are in JavaScript. Just a kind reminder. And that's it. Maybe it could be improved more. Maybe this implementation is not perfect, but this one is definitely complicated. And by the way, as I mentioned, we don't need to provide full argv from process argv, because first two items is passed to Node.js executable, and second one is passed to our module that runs that code, and it will never contain username. So probably we could just do argv slice to here. Okay. What else do we have here? We have here initial validation for username, and we put here error message. But in general, it's a good practice to extract static things outside of the functions, because on every execution of this function, you will recreate this variable. It will require memory. Okay, in this particular example, we have only one running instance. It's executed only once, but in general, other functions may be reused, and it will require more memory than expected. So this could be safely placed outside of the function, because it doesn't contain dynamic parts. Okay. What else do we have here? We throw new error with this error message. First of all, it's a little bit weird to throw same error when we don't have username or if any error occurred, but okay, maybe it's fine for our simple cases. But what do we have here? We have similar logic. We throw error with this message. So probably we could just extract it into custom error, which always uses this message, and you could just throw it here, and you don't need to provide error message to error constructor every time. And this one also could be extracted into some custom errors file, which will contain your custom errors. But let's take a look at the logic. If we don't have username, we throw this error. If we have it, we print this green line. Welcome to the file manager username. Then we get home directory. We change working directory to home directory according to task requirements. You can see that when we start, we are into users username folder, which is default folder on macOS, and then we print current working directory here, and we return username. By the way, it also could be separated. At least this one could be extracted into function, because this function does two things. It calculates username and it changes and print working directory, and after that it returns username. It's not that big, but if you can see some parts of logic that can be extracted, feel free to do it. You will never be hurt by many small handlers. It will increase readability, because we could just have something like I don't know, change working directory to home, right? And do not have all of this. And it will be logical. It has semantic naming. You don't need to go inside of it and check what it's doing. Okay, so we took a look at all main files. I have one suggestion related to layer structure and abstraction levels. I can see that you have mixed these base handlers, and this is your service level. So my proposal is to have only stuff like this in handlers folder, because this is truly handler. It just receives some input, checks it, and provide this input to the functions that do business logic, right? And you could have folder services on this level, and each service contains this function, because now your handlers can also contain services. That would be better from my point of view. Okay, let's take a look at the constants. We have basic operations. By the way, it's file system operations, not basic operations. Naming also could be improved. Navigation operations, zip operations, and we have colors as a constants, which is good. We don't need to take a look at such thing and try to understand what it means. And so, yeah, readable names for colors definitely deserves like. Pass utils, print current working directory. We just use color text with this blue color, and we print current working directory. Pretty straightforward. And also, this is how we can color text. We just need to provide color code to the text on the left side, and it will work correctly. Okay, that's basically it. We reviewed all the file. No external dependency used. It works using pure Node.js. By the way, you could also add engines here, just in order to let your user know if your code will be run on not appropriate platform. Oh, sorry, not 18, 20. And this code is from Eduard Brukish. I'm not sure that I mentioned it initially. Okay, that's basically it. Do you have questions to this assignment? Hash function, but isn't that the case that using pipe on hash will print to console after you are currently... Oh, yes, probably you are right. Taking into account that we have this printing current working directory logic here, yes, probably pipeline and awaiting of it would be better. Yeah, really good note. Thank you, Andrei. So I'm waiting a little bit for your questions, and after that we are moving to the next assignment. But overall, in general, I really like this solution. It's good structured. It tries to reuse things. It has good code segregation, and so on. Yes, we always have some minor concerns, but in general, this is a good work from my point of view. Should we pay attention for support white spaces and paths? Yes, of course. But what is important, you should support it the similar way as operation system does. Okay, so for example, we have here index.js. Let's imagine that, okay, probably let's try to create some file with white spaces. My file.txt, and wow, why is it so slow? Let's try to move it to... Oh my god. This is my file content. Okay, we saved it. And let's try to read it. So, if you will provide path to file correctly, for example, you can do it like this. .src. Sorry, not .src. It's just here. My file.txt. Your file content will be here. But if you will do it not correctly, for example, without these quotes, my file.txt, then operation system will think that you try to cut, and then you try to cut another file.txt. So you should support cases when user provide paths with white spaces correctly. Using these quotes, using special symbols, sequence that replace white space, and so on. So these cases should be supported by you. But you shouldn't support stuff like this and try to fix user's input. Because if user didn't provide correct input, then they will get error. That's it. I hope I answered the question. If process change dir wasn't used, instead developer just stores the modified path as a private variable of file manager. Is that an error? All the functionality works as expected. No, it's not an error. It's just another way to go. And by the way, when I created my own solution, I just created, let's say, virtual virtual navigation, which stored our virtual current working directory, and we were used it in navigation. It allows you to have more control than just changing process working directory. But for this case, both options are fine. If I forbid the user to use spaces in folders and files, no, it's not a correct option. Because file names, directory names can contain white spaces. Why should you prohibit user from usage of normal file system API? I support both cut my file. It's not an error, but from my point of view, you shouldn't fix everything because, okay, your user may try to, I don't know, provide you incorrect input in 1,000 ways, right? You may have wrong order, you may have wrong arguments, they may have incorrect format, they may have not they may not use quotes on spaces and so on. You shouldn't fix it. You trying to support all of this will be really a mess. So don't try to fix stuff like this. But it's not an error. It's okay. Because error is what explicitly mentioned in implementation or in forfeits. That's what you can get points for, or what can lead to the points deduction. No other things. Okay, guys, I believe we spent many time on this. Let's try to take a look at your next assignment. You have two assignments because they are not that big. I believe it will be fine for you. First, let's take a look at basic testing. What do we have here? We have here, you have here a link to the separated repository. You just need to fork it, and all instructions are inside. So you need to install all dependencies. This task is implemented in TypeScript, so you need to write it in TypeScript as well. You have here some scripts. You have you have test verbose just in order to see console output. So don't be scared if you don't see console logs, because you have just silent options here. And some dev dependencies. It doesn't really matter, just install it and use correct Node.js version. What else? You have several tasks. Just to be familiar with just API, because yes, we have native test runner in Node.js, but it's not ready for production in my point of view, only for simple cases. It doesn't have such a rich and various API as Jest. But you can try it as well. From version 20, it's okay to use it. I believe for some pet projects. Let's take a look at the assignment. You have folders. Your assignment split into folders. In every folder you have file index.ts. You shouldn't change it at all. No new exports, no changing on functions, nothing. And you have index test.ts. You have your test suite, which contains some test cases, and you should write test cases. For example, okay, let me probably open it in code editor, because it's not very convenient to use web APIs. The folder. Okay, I remember that. GitHub has code editor. It has Visual Studio Code here, but okay, I don't remember where it is because I don't use it. Let me check that we don't have solutions here. Okay. It seems that no. Okay, first of all, you have assignment to write simple tests, right? Just plain tests that where you provide some arguments to your function, then you call it and check that you have expected result. So you have a simple calculator here which receives input, validates it, and then check for action. If action is add, it return sum. If subtract, it return difference between A and B, and if action is multiply, it returns product. If action is divide, it returns division result, and it also has method. It also supports action exponentiate, which doing exponentiation, and default case is thrown an error, something went wrong. Here you have validation, which actually checks that action is really one of the actions that we have here. Also, it checks that A and B are numbers. And if action is action, A and B are numbers, then input is valid. So you need to check all the cases. You need to check support of all operations, and you need to check that invalid action or invalid arguments lead to return of the null. What else do you have here? You have the same simple calculator, but you need to write tests in different format, because for cases when you have exactly the same test signature, I mean, it does the same thing for all cases, it only differs in input. You can use table tests, and Jest has API for this. You need to check Jest documentation and rewrite all the tests that you have written here into table tests. And you have example of how input may look like. Yeah, you have different actions, you have different A and B, and you have different expected result. And you need to write a single test case which covers all test cases. You need to write single test call that will cover all the test cases. You will need to uncomment some code and proceed with another cases. What else? You have some functions that resolve value asynchronously, that throw error synchronously, that throws custom error, that reject custom error asynchronously, and you have this custom error class. And you need to check several cases. You need to check that your function resolves provided value. It's important to wait for result. I mean, it's important to resolve this promise. You should check how it's done into tests. You need to check you need to learn how to check that your function has thrown error with provided message. And you also can check that your error that your function thrown is custom error, not just a regular error. And also you need to check that your function rejects custom error, and also check that error is instance of this my awesome error. What else? You have a class here which represents a bank account, and it has several methods. It has method getBalance that return balance. It, by the way, it accepts initial balance on instance creation. It also has method deposit, which increases balance to the amount. It also has a method with, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it in English, withdraw, whatever. Okay, you got the idea. So if you can put money on your bank account, you can get it back from your bank account. And it also checks that if you try to get more than balance contains, then it throws another custom error, insufficient funds error. Otherwise, it reduces balance to the provided amount. It also It also can transfer money to another account, right? For this, it withdraws money and transfer it to the another account using deposit. It also can asynchronously fetch balance. Balance is implemented using Ladesh random. It will just return you a random number. This is to emulate, I don't know, for example, HTTP request, which is asynchronous. You do not know how to when it will be resolved, but still you need to control it and you need to test it by using mocks. And also you have synchronized balance method. Here you fetch balance if balance is null. Then you throw synchronization failed error. Otherwise, you set balance to the balance that you received from fetch balance. And you have get bank account here, and you have couple of custom errors. What you need to check? You need to check correctness of all the operations. So you need to check that your bank account has same amount as that you provided to it, then that it throws custom errors, that methods works correctly, and some edge cases. For example, if fetch balance returned number, then you need to check that this amount of balance is set. And also, you need to check different cases for fetch balance. What else do you have here? Time up to time, you don't need to mock a whole module, right? You may need to check only one function from module, and other functions should work as expected. So you need to partially mock this module, and you need to check that mock1, mock2, and mock3 do not log into console, which means that they are mocked. And you need to check that unmocked function logs into console this output. Okay. Time up to time, you need your functions use pure Node.js API. Right? For example, we have this function read file asynchronously. We construct a path to file, then we check whether it exists, and then we try to read file. I previously mentioned that you don't need to exist file separately, read file, throws error. This is just to make your work more complex, to be honest, because you will need to mock and control more files. Okay. Also, you have here do stuff by timeout, which sets timeout and execute provided callback, and do stuff by interval, which executes provided callback multiple times with a certain interval. And what do you need to check here? You need to learn how to work with mocking timers, because Jest has rich API. It allows you to set system time. It allows you to shift timers to specific value, or for example, to make your current system time 5 seconds forward and so on. So Jest has API for this. Please take a look at the documentation and check that set timeout executes function after provided timeout, and that it calls callback only after timeout passed, not immediately. And you also need to check that for interval function, you need to check that it calls your callback multiple times after multiple intervals. So you need to switch timers multiple times and check that it was executed. And also for reading file asynchronously, you should check that it calls join with proper path to file, that it returns null if file doesn't exist, that it returns file content if file exists. And just to remind you, this is unit tests level. You shouldn't call real Node.js APIs. I mean, this test shouldn't read real files. It shouldn't try to access real files. It shouldn't write real files, and so on. all your dependencies that how to say it, all your dependencies that work with file system should be mocked. You shouldn't call real file system APIs. This is important because if you will call file system APIs, this is another test level. It's not unit tests, it's integration tests, or it's parts of end-to-end tests, depending on flow that you test. But you should stay at unit tests level of abstraction. It's important. Also, you may use not only Node.js APIs. Of course, we all use different libraries, and you need to check that library APIs provided to you were called with proper arguments, that they return proper response, and so on. Here, what we have here, we have access client with base URL JSON placeholder typecode.com. Then we try to get something from relative path and return response data. And also this API is decorated. It's throttled, which means that it can be executed more often than throttle. Which means that you will not be able to execute it multiple times during this timeout period. You cannot get data from API. You have exported only throttle time and throttle get data from API. This is important. As I mentioned, you can change index.ts file in any folder. And what you need to check that it creates Axios instance with provided base URL. You need to check that it performs a request to correct URL using base URL and provided URL, and also that it returns response data. And you need to figure out how to deal with throttling here. Last but not least, sometimes you need to check for specific string or specific shape of object and so on. Time up to time you have, query builders which result can lead to the deep nested objects, and it's very hard to read. For example, we have function generate linked list. What it does? It receives some elements, and it creates a linked list. I hope you know what it is. If not, please Google. It's just abstract data structure which contains some chain of nodes, and each node has value and link to the next node. If this is the last element, next property will contain null, which means that we are at the tail of our linked list. Okay, so you need to check this function in two ways. You need to check it in line. So you need to provide some input to this function and check that it returns expected object. And then you need to check this by matching snapshot. You also should read about Jest API for snapshot testing. How to create snapshots, how to update it, what to do when your snapshot failed, and so on. That's basically it. Do you have some questions regarding this task? Isn't this a valid input error because number of arguments is greater than required? Okay, this is still about that task. npm run test. Do we need to use before each? You can use it if you need it. A little bit tricky for me is that in tests we can use ESM style while project is in common JS mode. This is TypeScript. You don't. TypeScript generally provides you option to use ESM style. This is just how TypeScript configuration works. Don't let it how to say it. Okay, so forget about it. Just remember that TypeScript configuration not always such a literal thing. Yeah, thank you, but it's too late. Okay, you can try Node.js, pam pam pam. Okay, it's TypeScript. Can we import errors? Can we use Lodash? I believe you don't need to use Lodash in tests. You need to mock Lodash and control what your random function returns to you. You can, sorry, let's try to take a look. Okay, you can import all stuff that is exported. Errors are exported, so yes, you can use it. What is not exported, for example, oh, here everything is exported. But, okay, when in some places you don't have exported things, for example, is input valid is not exported, so you cannot add export to it. You can import in tests only what is exported already. And yes, you definitely need to import errors, because how do you check that error is a specific kind of error? Okay, I will answer one more question and then we will move to the next assignment. I can see that Pavel is typing something. Okay, guys, sorry it takes too long. How you doing? I'm fine, thank you. It's almost 9 p.m. and I'm still in the office and I'm fine. Should return knowledge, testing knowledge split. Guys, are you kidding me? That was I was waiting for. Okay, I got you. Let's take a look at the next assignment. Okay, it's about building simple CRUD API. What it is? You need to implement a simple CRUD, or how it's called, CRUD API, which uses in-memory database below. What means CRUD? This is acronym from the names of the operations that your API should support. It's create for C, read for R, update for U, and delete for D. And for those of you who wanted to implement tasks using TypeScript, hooray! Now you can use TypeScript, and you will even get extra points for this. And also you are allowed to use some dependencies in this task, but you have explicit list here. You can use nodemon, .env, crossenv, TypeScript, tsnode, tsnode.dev, ESLint and its plugin, webpack CLI, webpack and its plugin, prettier, UIT package, and as well as types packages, because it means types and .env instead of this asterisk, because we use TypeScript and we have time up to time we have separated libraries for types. In some packages types are included, in some not. Of course, we still use latest long-term support version of Node.js. Of course, we still prefer asynchronous API whenever is possible. And you need to implement only one endpoint which works with one resource. It's under the path API users. You need to implement some operations. For example, you can get API users and you should receive status code OK and all user records. You can get You can try to get specific user by providing user ID as a pass parameter. If such user exists, you return status code OK and your user. If your response, if your request is invalid, for example, if user ID is not UUID or it's missing or something like this, then you respond with bad request status code and corresponding user-friendly message. If your ID is valid, but such user doesn't exist, you return not found status code and corresponding user-friendly message. You can also use post method with API users pass to create a record. You can also use put to update existing record, and also you can use delete to delete existing record. So you have explicit description here. Also you have description of the shape of your users. User contains following properties. First of all, ID. It's unique identifier, and it's important that it's generated on server side. So you shouldn't be allowed to directly change user ID. You just pass user data that needed for creation of username, age, hobbies. Username is string, it's required. Age is number, it's required. And hobbies are user hobbies. It's array of strings or empty array. It's also required. What else? If your user tries to get information from some non-existing endpoint, I mean not from API users in format that described here, you should return status code not found and corresponding human-friendly message. What do I mean by human-friendly message? You should be able to read it and not being a programmer and recognize what's happened. So, for example, you can return something like resource you requested does not exist. Something like this. Not just please do not provide error message from not error to your user. What else? We will briefly touch error handling because time to time some errors may occur on your server, and you don't always want to expose what's happening because it may contain sensitive information. For example, it may contain stack trace, and some evil hacker may try to hack your API, taking into account information from these responses. So you just need to return status code internal server error and some human-friendly message. For example, internal server error is also human-friendly and understandable. Also, you run your application on some port. It should be stored in .env file. And if you change this data in .env file and then you restart application, your application should be running on dedicated port. Also, we have two modes of running application, development and production. For development, you use nodemon or ts node.dev and running application using npm script start :dev. If your application is run in production mode, you should write script start prod, and this script should build your application into single file and then run bundled file. Also, you can have some tests. It's like end-to-end tests or integration tests. Our application is very small, so for this probably it's end-to-end, but maybe you can call it integration test. At least three different scenarios. For example, you can try to, on first step, you can try to get all records of users and check that it's empty array. Then you can try to create a record using post method and check that response contain created record. Then you can try to get this record and check that it exists. Then we update it and check that we get updated record in response. Then we can try to delete it and check after that check that we don't have this record anymore. Then we can get specific record or all records and check that it's empty, or specific record doesn't exist. So just be creative. You know how your application works, so you can define scenarios. You can use this one as one of them, so you need to implement two others. Also, you can implement horizontal scaling for application, because your API may be distributed. And if you want to implement this part, you need to write npm script start multi, which starts multiple instances of your application using Node.js cluster API. We already touched child processes previously and worker threads. Cluster API is something that uses child processes under the hood, but it creates separated Node.js instances. And also you need to create instances of your API equal to the number of available parallelism in your system, which is most likely will be the same as your CPU's number, but maybe not. Please use available parallelism API instead of CPUs for this purpose. And each instance should listen on port plus n. For example, if you have first of all, you will have load balancer on the main port of your application, and every worker will be running on load balancer port plus 1, 2, 3, and so on. For example, you have available parallelism 4, your port is 4000. Then you run npm start multi, and on localhost 4000 API load balancer is listening for requests. On load balancer 4001, 4002, and 4003, you have workers, because you have number of workers available parallelism -1 on separated ports. And when you send request to your load balancer, it sends request to localhost 4001, next request to localhost 2002, and so on. When you are out of list of your workers, then next request should be sent to the first worker again. And the most tricky case, you should use your engineering skills to implement this. Of course, there is no sense in your workers and in this workload split if your state is not consistent, right? So, for example, you send first request for creation of users. It's addressed to localhost 4001 API. It creates user. Then you can send get request, and it's addressed to the next worker, but it should return created user. Then you, for example, this is a scenario how you can test multiple requests. Then you delete this user, this request sent to the third worker, it deletes user, and next request which is addressed to the first worker again should return not found status code, because we previously deleted it. So this is your task, how to implement this consistency. And also, just a reminder, load balancer distributes requests across workers using round-robin algorithm. It means that if you have 3 workers, you will distribute requests the following way: first, second, third, then again first, second, third, just like spinning around. Okay, that's basically it about requirements. I have small demo for you. I will show it soon, but first let's take a look at the scope, at the scoring. You have points for README file that describes your application and contains detailed instructions for installation your application, running and using it, because it's your custom application, it's not from template, and you really need to explain your users how to use it. Also, you have points for implementation of different endpoints. Also, You have points for users if users are stored in the form described in technical requirements. I mean in assignment point 2. What else? Value of port of application is stored in .env file and changes when you change it there. It's not just hard-coded or something like this. You have advanced score. You have plus 30 points if task is implemented using TypeScript. Also, you have a score for processing request to non-existing endpoints. I remind you that it should be not found status quoted user-friendly message. Also, you have extra points if your errors, unexpected errors on server side during processing request lead to 500 status code and internal server error message if initial error message is not exposed to user. Also, you have points for implementation of development and production mode, and you have hacker scope, which includes your end-to-end test for API, and you have 50 points for horizontal scaling of your application with load balancer. Yeah, it's tricky, and you will get a lot of points for implementation of this. So be curious, be brave, and brace yourselves. By the way, starting from this assignment, we will have forfeits for incorrect task submission. What do I mean? You have requirements how your pull request should look like. You have it in frequently asked questions in Discord. In a nutshell, you should provide link to the task, you should provide self-check, you should provide submission dates, something like this. Please check frequently asked question. I don't remember exactly, but if some important parts are missing or you forgot to create pull request, you will get minus 20 points. Also, if you implemented solution in main branch without separated development branch, you will have another minus 20 points. And also, it's very important to make your commits atomic. I mean, you shouldn't put everything in one commit, because most likely, if you are working on big application, our application is not big, but still, you will have gradually improved application, and you will have changes step by step. So if you have less than 3 commits in the development branch, and also please pay attention that it's not taking into account commits that make changes only to technical files like readme, tsconfig, gitignore, pretty-rrc, something like this. So you should have more than 3 commits in development branch that bring code to your application. This is important. If you don't have it, you will have minus 20 points for this. So learn to split your work into commits with meaningful names and following commits names convention. And also you will lose almost all of your score for using some external tools except mentioned here, because you can find some packages in npm that will do all the work for you, but I don't want you to use it. I want you to implement it yourself using Node.js API and TypeScript if you want. And also, commits after deadline lead to minus 30% of total task score. Except commits that affect only readme, gitignore, tsconfig, something like this. You can do minor fix there after deadline, but not files with code. Please remember, it's important. Okay, I have small demo for you with this one. Okay, let me clear it. I just don't want to share you more code than necessary. I will kill this terminal. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Let's check regular work. As you can see, we have .env file here. It contains value 3000. For example, I can change it. You can see the server is running on port 3000. If I will change it, my server will be running on another port. But I will leave it 3000 just in case. And then let's try to send request. Let's try to get our users. You can see that we have got empty array because we didn't create users yet. Let's try to create some user. For that, I need to use post method on API users endpoint. And after that, and also I need to provide body. I need to provide body, and my body should be JSON with corresponding content type header. Please don't forget about it. Postman will provide it for you, but if you use a different way to send HTTP request, you will need to provide it by yourself. We have name here, we have age here, we have hobbies here. As you can see, we don't have ID here because, as I mentioned, it's generated on server side. I send this request, and what do we have in response? We have status code created, because we created new record. We have our data with ID. And we can try to create users with invalid data. For example, we will provide number as name. In this case, you can see that we have bad request response and message invalid data in request, which is user friendly. It's understandable. Okay, let's try to get all users, and let's try to get our specific user by ID. For this, I will copy ID and we'll try to get specific user. You can see that we received this object. For example, if we will try to provide invalid ID, for example, not UUID, you will have again bad request, invalid data in request. Message can be more specific, it's up to you. I just wanted to show how it works functionally. Okay, what else? We can try to update our user. For this, we need to use put method. We need ID of user, of course, and we provide updated body. Okay, now it's Jane Doe. Age is 33, and hobby is computer games. Oh, no, hobby will be Node.js, because we are at Node.js course. And what you can see here, we have same ID, which means that we didn't remove the old record and created new one. It's still the same record, but our data is updated. And when we will get this record individually using its ID, we will get this record again. Okay, also we can delete our record. Once again, we need ID for doing this. And we have status no content 204. And if we will try to get this user again using this ID, you can see that person is not found. Okay, it should be user not found. Never mind. And if we will try to get all users, you can see that array is empty because we don't have record, we just deleted it. What else? We have this script npm run start multi. And you can see that we have master process on port 3000, right? And then we have, I just added some logging for spawning workers, which are not just instances, but you can see that they are running on different ports. And for example, I can address my request to 3007. It will return us empty array. I can address it to 3004. Also, it's 3006. 5, 4. I can address it to main. process and so on. I didn't implement communication between those workers for demo, but I think you get the idea. Okay, what's interesting is also happening here. Oh, processing request to non-existent API. Okay, we just can try to get access to something not existent. And yeah, you have status not found and message that resource that you requested doesn't exist, which is friendly, readable, and so on. Okay, I believe this is it for the explanation. I'm ready to answer your questions. Okay, best question of Steam. Should we use some JSON file as database for CRUD API? Oh, please don't. You explicitly have recommendations that it's using in-memory database. What does it mean? It means that your database works only when your application is running. When your application is dead, then your in-memory database is cleared. No, please don't store data. We will connect a real database later to your application. You will use it in multiple tasks. It's not a time for this. You shouldn't spend time on implementation of your custom database. Please just use array or something like this. For CRUD, can you suggest folder structure, please? Please learn about RESTful APIs and its limitations, constraints. One of them is layer structure, and you can create a layer structure in your project as well. Can I use Express? Nope, you can't use Express. You only can use dependencies that mentioned here. Please pay attention, it's important. You will lose all your points. You can only use this, nothing else. Please remember that if you will have something except this in your dependencies or dev dependencies and so on, you will lose almost all your points. No Express. You have HTTP module in Node.js, which provides you possibility to respond to requests and create server. Just pure Node.js. Do I remain on ESM or CommonJS is allowed? CommonJS is allowed, but if you will use it, you will not be able to use TypeScript properly. So my personal recommendation is to use TypeScript. If you can't, use ECMAScript modules. Yeah. That's what I meant. You can use a local variable with array and store data there. Without Express, Yes, you are correct. No, please, no DB.json, only arrays. Yes, something like this. README file will be main branch or in dev branch? In dev branch. All you implement should be in dev branch. You can duplicate it to main branch, but not many sense, because in main branch you will not have this solution. It will be in dev branch, so I think documentation should be there. Don't you think that 2 tasks in 1 week is a bit overkill? No. I don't think so. Actually, it's not that big, because basic testing will require from you like 1 evening, not more, and your CRUD API should work with only 1 entity. It's only several endpoints. It's not that big, so I think it's fine. But you should try hard to be able to pass this task before deadline. I don't get it. We do CRUD and test in Postman, or it should work from CLI. You can use your bash shell and use CURL, for example. You can send requests from any, I don't know, from any place. Okay, I have running worker. For example, I can use my browser. Localhost 3000, API, person, users. Here's my array. you can use whatever you want in order to be able to send request. You can test, using Postman is just convenient. It must be work from CLI. Yes, it must be work. What is the best way to run and debug TypeScript without compilation? You can use different debuggers. For example, you can use Chrome browser debugger. You can debug Node.js application in Chrome. And for this stuff, you have a thing called source maps, which map your transpiled JavaScript code to your TypeScript sources. So that's it. Small off top, but interesting. Can we put body in delete method? It's a good practice in REST. My small express app pet project cut content length where they try to put body in delete method. I can tell you more. You can even put body to get request, but I believe that you shouldn't. In general, it's hard for me to. Okay, this question is a bit deeper than I started to explain. First of all, delete method is not widely used because for most cases you don't really need to delete something. You need to make it unavailable, hidden, you need to move it to archive, to some recycle bin and log something, whatever. So in most cases it will be patch or put or something like this. You will rarely use delete HTTP method. And even if you use delete HTTP method, I believe that ID is enough. So from my point of view, you shouldn't send body in delete method. Oh, by the way, I didn't show you end-to-end tests. Let's run our application in regular mode. It's running on port 3000. And then when it's running, let's try to run tests. And you can see that we have some test suite. We have tests, should return on person, create person, get person, update, delete, find no person. That's our test scenario. And that's it. This is how it looks like. Okay. Do you have any other questions? But anyway, you will transpile your code to JS under the hood because there is no, as far as I know, at the moment, there is no native runners for TypeScript. It's always transpiled to JavaScript. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I'm not sure. Thank you for the stream. Thank you for your attendance and activity. Wish you the best. You should be strong and brave because we have 2 tasks and some of you may have not finished tests. So that's it from me for today. Have a nice evening and see you in 1 week. Bye bye.